Hi, I'm Parker with Shuttle Systems, and I'm here to introduce you to our new Shuttle 2001 Ultimate. This is the latest model of our 2001 line, and we've put everything on here that you've requested. We've added a bariatric capacity. We've created additional tilt to the backrest. We have much more load, almost to 500 pounds. So it's got everything you would ever want, plus the P&F pulley system, so you can do upper body and Pilates style moves on this. So I'm going to start off with the kick plate. The kick plate is fully adjustable, up, down, forward, and backward. So to start with, I'm going to have you come around here and take a look at this. On the back, we do have instructions for different positioning on the machine, which will help you remember all the versatility the machine has. And then also on the back here, we can change the height of the kick plate. So if we have a small child or we have a large adult, we can change the positioning on here. I'll just loosen up these two screws and I'll pull this up. So now if you want to do calf raises and toe raises off the bottom of the kick plate, put it up high like this, or if you have a large athlete, or you can put it down low for a small person or a child so they can get the proper flexion angle on their knee. And that's easily adjusted, and right here we have numbers, so if you need to chart it, you can make a notation where the kick plate was positioned last time you had the patient on there. So now the kick plate goes up and down, also goes back and forth. We have these pin locks here that pop up like so. We can disengage this to move the kick plate. And what the idea of these is to provide stability for doing high load plyometrics. So when you have your athlete on here at 200 pounds doing explosive plyos, it's going to keep the kick plate from advancing. So to move it, I'm going to come over here, and we have these two screw levers here. We'll just loosen those up, and now I can take and easily move the kick plate forward to advance. So if I have a patient on here and I want to increase the flexion angle without disturbing them, getting them off the machine, I can loosen this up and advance the kick plate. Or if I find I have too much flexion, I can take and move the kick plate back like so. Then all I have to do is lock this down like this, tighten that up, tighten this up, and now it's solid. So there's our kick plate. The next thing I want to show you are the cords. The foot-in cords here are 8 to 25 pound elastics. And what I mean by 25 pounds, that is the starting load. And with any elastic, you will have a progressive resistance. So that 25 pound becomes 40 at full extension. So this causes some confusion with folks, but what we suggest, if you need to document the exact amount of load that the patient's putting on their knee or their hip, you can go ahead and put a scale, a cheap bathroom scale, on the kick plate, and then have them put on their feet on that and push off, and then you can get an exact reading how much pressure is being put on that joint. So I'm going to pull down the machine here. Oh, a sec here. I'm going to pull this down, and to engage the cord, I'm going to grab the ring here, pull it out, and drop it in. So I can just pull out these. Oh, there we go. Add them or subtract them to take them off. It's just as easy, like so. And then I always suggest taking these off when you're not using them, because if you leave a load on them, it will tend to stretch the cords and shorten their lifespan. Now, I'm going to just move these cords out of here. I had them tucked away. But these are the cords for your upper body. And they lock into a sail lock here. It's just a little jam cleat. So all I have to do is just to change the tension like that. I just change the length and drop it in, and it snags. That's really easy to use. Now, on the side of the machine, on each side we have a grab handle. You just tighten it down for holding on to, or you loosen it to move it back and forth. So you can adjust this to any size patient. So when they're on the machine, they can hold on here and feel comfortable and safe. And at higher loads, they can put load into that as they're pushing away to keep them from slipping. So now, the other thing we have on this side of the machine, you'll notice down here, this is our carriage lock. And this is adjustable. I can move this anywhere on this side, or I can take it off and put it on this side of the machine if you're using this side for your entry. But I'm just going to lock that down like so. Now this way this goes is I'm going to put my handle down like this, and that just locks that like so. So you can get people on here load them and unload them in comfort, and without the carriage moving around, they're going to feel a lot more safe and secure when doing so. Now I'm going to come over here and show you how the backrest works. Right now it's in the supine position. I'm just going to pop this out like so. In the supine position, we can adjust the headrest. This is Velcro, so I can put it down here for a very small person or way up here for a 7-foot tall person, so we can get anybody from a child to a basketball player on here. So I'm going to put that back on like so. Now when I lift up the backrest, you'll notice there's 2 plates here. The first one here is a little 15-degree plate, and so when I put this down like so, that holds up the backrest at 15 degrees. Or I can put this down here and come up to 30 degrees. Or then I can, or that was 45 degrees, pardon me. There's 45. And then here's 30 degrees. So we have supine, 15, 30, and 45 degree backrest. And as you can see, I'll hop on here and show you. This adds to the comfort for your patient. When they're on here, they can sit heads up, especially with the older folks. They're going to feel more comfortable with a heads up position. Some people may even have trouble breathing as well, especially if you have a bariatric patient. And this is rated for bariatrics. With the wider seat, you'll notice how nice wide seat we have here, and the extra wheels on the carriage. This allows us to accommodate up to a 600-pound patient. So we can, like I say, we can get a small child or a 600-pound patient on here. We've covered the whole spectrum of people you're going to be seeing in your practice. So with the additional loading too, you can work out your strongest athlete, or with the small cords on the back here I'm going to show you, we can work out your post-surgical grandmother with her brand new knee or hip. So when you come back here, these cords load a little bit differently. They load from the, we call this the head end. So these cords are going to load down here. And here I have a 2-pound, which is just enough to return the carriage. For somebody that has a brand new knee or is post-surgical, it's going to give them very low resistance. And then, let me see what's going on here. Oh, I see what happened here. What I just did, I'll show you. I just locked this out. This is a, I'll come back to the cords, but while we're at it here, this is your range of motion control. And this is another sail lock. It's a snag lock. So you just drop that in there and it locks like so. It has a little bit of forgiveness there, so it doesn't have a hard stop at the end. But this allows you to do range of motion for your flexion as well. As we showed you earlier, you can change the flexion angle by adjusting the kick plate forward and backwards. And we can also adjust the flexion angle here with our red control rope. Okay, so when I'm loading a cord, I'm going to drop it down to the neutral position here, and then I'll grab another cord. Now here's a 6-pound, and here's a 12-pound. So we have super low loads for early on rehab, post-surgical, and then we can move on to our 25-pound cords. The rest of these are 25, and then again at the bottom, once you max these out, once you engage all these and need more load, you can go to the bottom down underneath the kick plate and load those up. And when we get those all on, we're going to have about 500 pounds of load at full extension. So now to disengage, it's super easy. Again, everything is designed around the patient's comfort. So instead of having to change the angle of the machine like you would with, say, a total gym, you can just leave your patient comfortable on the sled, come back here, and I can take cords off or add cords. So we want to go back down to a 2, or if we have them progressing, we might want to go to a 12 and a 25, which would put us up to about 35, 36 pounds. And then we can move on to 42 pounds, and then we could go to 25 and drop this off and go to 50 pounds. So by playing these, adding and subtracting these, we can move up and down in very small increments. So as your patient progresses, you don't have to make a big jump of resistance. You can, like a lot of times with a weight stack, you will have maybe a 5 or a 10 pound or 25 pound. Here we can do it as low as 2 pounds. So it's almost, they can barely tell the difference, but that's what you want, that nice smooth resistance and gradual increase or gradual decrease, whichever you're trying to achieve. Now the other feature we have back here is our range of motion control for our extension. Now this little device just slides in the end of the rails here. I'm just going to lift it up and slide that in, and then I can position this anywhere I want. So right now, let's just say I'm going to take off this band here. It's a little hard to work with. I'm just going to put on this 2-band so we have just enough resistance to hold it in place. So I'm going to pull this back here. I'm going to lock out a little bit of flexion, and now I'm going to put my extension back here. So now we have a range of motion of maybe 6 to 8 inches. And if I want to give them a little bit more, I can just move this back. Now if I want to drop it down and get a little more flexion, I can just drop this in like so. Very easy to adjust, very fine level of adjustment. So you can move it an inch, half inch, whatever you think is deemed necessary for your patient's comfort. So that covers our range of motion control, our backrest, our footrest, our kick plate, our cords. Now we're going to go on to the PNF pulley system. Now this is all new. Our pulleys have been redesigned with 2 ball bearings in each one of these pulley wheels. So it's super smooth, super durable, and super strong. So what we have is a handle here that has both the foot basket and also the hand grip. I'm going to take the foot basket off and just put down here. Now the foot basket you can replace the handle with, and it's really a great way to do overhead ham stretches. You can do Pilates type moves for like lateral leg. And at low loads you don't have to fight it. You can go do it like maybe 6 pounds for somebody who has a injured muscle in the hip or a ligament. So it's really easy on your patient, or you can load it up and use it for more aggressive sports conditioning. So this moves up and down here, so we can change the angle. If I want it to come straight back, I can do so like so, or I can move it up here. And then, so if I want it to come up to me, I can do this standing next to the machine, or I can use it on the machine. So you can see how easy that is. And now here I can adjust this right here like so. I can, very easy to adjust. This takes a second to do so. Super smooth. Now what I'm going to do is put this back up. I'm going to hop on here. See if I can give you a demonstration of how this works. Okay, now up here you'll notice there's a little slide as well. And this is a small adjustment. So if we do the gross adjustment down here and we want to get these leveled up, we can just take and cinch that up a little bit, so just for a real fine adjustment, so you don't have to go down here. So that gives you 2 points of adjustment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop the feet down like so. Those are about even. I'm going to just straddle this. Now as you can see, they're not even, so I can come back here. Do that. I'm going to adjust this here a little bit like so. Okay. Now, this has so little load right now, I have to push myself back. That's what you want, is just enough. So somebody who is super subconditioned can exercise on here and feel confident, and then you can start building up the resistance. So then we can use it sitting like this. I also can use it for sitting here for a side pull. You can have them on here. Somebody who was just post-surgical on their shoulder, this would be almost no load, but to give them a really nice smooth exercise. Between the wheels, which are all ball bearing, and the pulleys here, it's an incredible smooth transition here when you're moving back and forth. So, again, the foot pelt basket will snap on there. We can do overhead exercises I would show you, but for me to do it looks very ungainly, so we'll just leave that for another day.